Hi guys, welcome to Inside the Dugout with JT, Larry, and Campbell. Tonight is our Q&A, Chalk Talk Wednesdays, although we are all traveling, so it is a Thursday, and I acknowledge that. But we are gonna still answer the questions that we were scheduled to answer for you last night and didn't get to. So just before we went live, we had some questions and some things coming up from this weekend. So this Monday's topic was about how to be a good team player. And then we talked about some ways and strategies that coaches can implement that in the dugout. And then one of our coaches who happens to be on this call, which is phenomenal, went into the dugout and implemented some of those things, and what she did worked. And then because it worked so well, I'm trying to think if I should say this or if you should say this, Campbell, because I think because it works so well, she wants credit for that and maybe feels like she didn't get that validation, that credit. And so this brings up a really big thing. So in all the years I've been coaching, it's the same with every single coach. And as you go through it, some coaches actually progress and develop past this stage, but a lot of them never do. I mean, I know my high school coach, I won't name names right now because he might be watching this too, but he is exactly the same as he was when he coached me in 1996. So not everybody's trying to get better. And when you think you're perfect, you don't get better. And that's not really what I'm saying here for you, Campbell, but what I'm saying is this is a great life lesson and learning lesson and coaching lesson in that as a coach, we have to evaluate what is our actual goal here. Is it to develop the players into one team, like we talked about on Monday, to win and to have fun and to grow together? Or is it for me to be the best coach on the planet and for everybody to acknowledge that? And it can be something in between there. But that being said, as the coach, if you get your validation from the actual success that you're seeing in both your players and team, instead of needing those players and team or referees or umpires or tournament directors or parents to acknowledge you as being the architect of that, that's when you're really starting to settle in to really be a great coach because not Campbell so much. Not Campbell so much. She just was super excited. Everybody loved her. She took over management of the team, made all of the lineups, and did all of those things. And I played on the team for everybody who's listening. And so I was there in the dugout experiencing this as a player. And the person who was the coach, quote unquote, on paper, after game one, was no longer relegated to that role because there wasn't anybody in the dugout who would follow him. And at this point, I want to say, having said all that, Campbell, I may or may not have answered what was on your heart right there. But what is this bringing up in you right now about what went down over the last 3 or 4 days?
Well, it's not even necessarily that I want validation. It's just that, like, I was super excited. We won a championship. And I don't feel like I had a super big role in that. Like, all I did was make lineups and tell people where to go in the field. It was you guys who, did the actual playing. Like, you were the ones who hit the ball, you did everything. And I just, sometimes I feel like I'm not contributing because all I'm doing is paperwork and lineups. And like even then, obviously my lineups work. Like we had the most runs scored and we had the least amount of runs against us in that tournament. So obviously my lineups, my defensive lineups are working. But then sorry, I come back to my officers at DU and they look at my lineups and they go, no, we're not using that. And then, they end up changing everything. Or someone is out in the field and I'm like, hey, I think from what I've seen that this person should be moved to this position. And they think that's absolutely ridiculous. And then, like, lo and behold, one practice, it'll be like, fine, just, we'll give you what you want. We'll move that guy to that spot. And that guy does well in that spot. But I'm frustrated too because, like, I sent the link for this podcast to one of my officers, and he was like, oh, yeah, JT is great. Larry is great. We have so much to learn from them. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm not doing enough because I'm not actually contributing on the field.
Wow.
You know,
That, yeah,
I
that's the
mean,
definition of a coach, right, Larry?
100%. I mean, you look at Bobby Cox and how many times he won, and he didn't play. He put the lineup out there, the right guys, the right 9 guys, the right 10 guys out there to play the game. And when you have a Maddox, a Smoltz, a Glavin, it's a lot easier. When you have your dad, the other 3 guys on the mound, the hitters, it's a lot easier. When you have a good team that plays together as a team, your job's easy. Your job is now hard because you bring in the guys from your organization right now, and your hardest job right now is to have them trust you. And what you are doing is right. And you have to believe in your heart what you're doing is right. Stick to your guns, and it's the way you're going to do it because that's why you're there. And coaching's not always, that's why you never hear the good things when you win ball games from a coach. You always hear the bad things because they're always going to scrutinize you for what you did wrong and not did right. Remember that. And you have one thing that you have that you got this weekend was this a ring. You got a ring because what you put out there, the lineup. That's when you said that, you could have batted 4 other guys in front of your dad, and then get a chance to put your dad on the lineup to get RBIs. But you didn't, and you had the right time, the right place, the right guys, the right place, the right time to drive in runs, to win ball games. So you did a good job. Don't worry about what you did a great job. And right now you're fighting with an organization that hasn't won. They have not won. Like have you won in adult baseball? And you're bringing that drive that you have, that passion to these guys, and they're going to get it. They're going to get it, but they have to have some success first. Like I told you before, you need that team bonding. Get that team together as one. Because I mean, your dad's team, Coach T's team, they're together as one. They travel together, they talk together, they have lunch together, whatever they may be, but they're one team. And right now, your program is over everywhere. You have everywhere you go with these guys. Have a barbecue. Do something on a weekend outside of baseball and bring that team together. But you did a good job. Don't ever say you didn't do a good job because you put a lineup on there that won ball games. So I feel you, but don't think that way because you did a good job.
And you got to be careful of those. I mean, that's awesome, coach. And you got to be careful of those Debbie Downers. those naysayers because they're the Monday morning quarterbacks, right? So if everybody knows what that means is they watch the game on Sunday and then they tell you everything they would have done on Sunday if they were that quarterback. But the reality is two things. Number one, they're not that quarterback, and that's why they're talking about it and not doing it. And number two, it's always easy to look back and say, look at all these decisions that were made. I would have done them differently. But the team you just coached and managed over the last 4 days, 5 days, went 7-0. And day one, because I was in the dugout every day, day one, the coach of that team put the lineup together and we scored 3 runs and barely eked out a victory. Then I want to ask you, Campbell, do you remember how many runs we scored with your first lineup you put out?
12, I believe.
And the next game,
6 or 7, or no, was it more? I don't know. It was a lot.
6. So it was 6 actually the first game, then it was 12, then it was 13, and then what was and then or no, then it was 17, then it was 13. So was there a difference between his lineup and yours?
Yeah.
Okay. What about defensively? How did we
Yes.
how did that go?
Oh, it went much better.
Yeah. We gave up
Yeah.
the least amount of runs of any team in the tournament.
Yeah.
So what you're saying without knowing it is you were the best manager in this tournament because you put your players in a position to win. You put them in a position where they had a chance to succeed individually and together. And I think it's time we bring up the fact that you wrestled one of the guys to keep him in the dugout. So this is a grown ass man. And we're in the 10th inning, and he says, and he's the coach, of course. You know that's who I'm talking about. And he says, you got to put me in here. I'm going to win this for us. And he has 2 hits through 5 games at this point. And the guy he's trying to get Campbell to put him in for has 12 hits, and the winning run is on third base in the 10th inning, bottom of the 10th inning. So Campbell has to physically restrain this guy and tell him, you cannot go in for this hitter. We finally convince him to stay in the dugout and allow that hitter to hit, who, by the way, is in that position in the lineup because of Campbell. And what did he do, Campbell?
You walked it off.
He did. He got a hit to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, great coaching move. It happens. And we've all been there. I mean, there's times we made mistakes coaching, but we learn. We learn from the mistakes. We learn what we did right, learn what we did wrong, and so forth. But I mean, you're never gonna make everybody happy. You just make sure you stick to your guns, and you know what you're doing is right, and everything will come out the way it comes out. And if it doesn't, then you learn from it. I mean, I've been in so many losses that I went home and I thought about the whole game from the first to the last inning, last out, and it eats me up inside. But I learned from it, and that's what you do as a coach. You learn from your mistakes and what you because you're not always gonna win every game. You're not. So take every loss as a learning experience, and the same with the wins, and you'll be just fine. But I was gonna say something else on that whole thing too, but I kind of forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, I mean, coaching is never easy. If it's so easy, not every player can coach, not every coach can play, and remember that. And and just study what you do and make sure you do it the right way, and you'll be fine.
And it's kind of like let's let's take $140,000 Escalade. That's a pretty nice truck. Would we agree?
Hmm.
So, what is the least exciting thing on a $140,000 Escalade? Like a tire?
Hmm.
So, if the least exciting thing is on the Escalade is a tire, let's just say, okay, we're going to remove the tire. Is the Escalade going to go anywhere?
No.
No.
Hmm.
So sometimes the least exciting thing on the team is the coach. And I don't mean to say it like that, but the team won't go anywhere without a coach and somebody who manages and makes those decisions. Because what happens when you, after the game, try to decide where to go eat, Campbell?
If there's 100 different opinions, everybody wants to go somewhere, and then I have to step up and go, nope, we're going here.
Somebody has to make the decision. And
Yep.
here's the thing. It's like Coach said, you're not always going to be right. Not everybody's going to be happy. But if you stick to your heart, you stick to your guns, more times than not, you will be. And I'm gonna give you an example. So I've been coaching a whole lot of years. And one time in uh a, the playoffs in the bracket play of a tournament up in Brighton. I had my girls out there, and we were down. We were down by one run, and this was the top of the seventh, which obviously was a tight game because it's not very often in tournament play that you get to the seventh inning. I don't remember the exact score, but we were down by one, and our pitcher was getting in trouble. So I called timeout and rotate the pitcher. Well, what I neglected to check was the amount of time remaining in the game. So we actually, time expired while I had the new pitcher warming up, and we lost the game because of that. And if you, that was probably 6 years ago, Campbell. And I remember what field we were on. I remember who was up to bat. I remember who was pitching. I remember what team we were playing. And the reason why I remember all that is I have replayed that scenario in my mind probably 1,000 times. And what do I do every game now? I assign either a bench coach or a parent to keep the clock and to give me notifications at certain time. We got 15 minutes left. We got 20 minutes left. We got 5 minutes left so that I know how much time we got. And I can just say, hey, we don't have time to switch. You're going to have to finish this out right here. Get yourself out of this trouble. But yeah, and I've been coaching a long time and I make those mistakes. And I will tell you this. Um, there's only been about 6 times in my career that I've gone undefeated in a tournament. And my career is about 8 times as long as yours. And you've already done it once.
I've done it twice.
Oh my gosh. Way to rub it in. Now she's rubbing it in. Now she's gloating.
I, I think so, Coach. I don't think she's only okay. She's a lot better now.
Does that help any? Because there's coaches out there. Every coach out there at the beginning of their career. This is why coaches quit actually. Because they think, oh, I can't deal with the parents. That's the biggest thing. Because if there's a coach who's volunteering and I'm helping them out or they know me, my biggest goal is to keep them going because this world needs coaches. This sport needs coaches and coaches who care. And if they're going to quit because of these things, it's just because they think they're the only one. They think they're on this island. They think this would never happen if I was a guy, or this would never happen if I was this, or this would never happen if I was that. And that's all bullshit. That's just made up stuff in your head. This happens all the time. It happens to everybody. I mean, Mike Shanahan was the football coach here in Denver for 12 or 18 years, whatever it was. And Pat Bowlen, the owner of the Broncos at the time, said, "You got a job forever. You can be here forever." And he told him that. And then he fired him. And it wasn't because Pat wanted to fire him or this or that or whatever. Was it the right decision or not? I don't know. We had some rough years after they fired him. But what I would say is it doesn't matter how good you are. There's always going to be somebody who thinks they could do better. And I would say, who is it that's making the decisions? Because that's probably the best person for that right now. The guy who's sitting there watching them on TV criticize them is not the best coach.
Well said. Another thing too, as I was going to say to you also is evaluate yourself and look at yourself as a coach and see how those boys or the adult team, where how they're progressing from week one to in the year, and that's where you're teaching these kids how to play. So right now, what you got in the fall with your team right now at DU, there's a lot of room to grow. And like I told you before, they're gonna grow. They're gonna get better under your guidance. And like I said, that's how you know you're a good coach. When you out on the field and they're now making that play in the hole, in the six hole, or that backhand, you've been working on the backhands, or they're getting that base hit now with two outs because now they're shortening up on their swing and they're putting the ball in play, or anything that you can see that's a positive. That's how you know that what you're saying and what you're doing is good, and you're doing a good job doing it. So it's not always wins and losses that's going to show you as a good coach. Because George Karl, coach of the year for the Nuggets, gets fired that year. Gets fired because
The
he
year
didn't
he
make it
was
past
coach of the year.
coach of the year because he didn't make it past first round of the playoffs. So it's not always you're the best coach out there winning all these games that you're going to make a good coach. Because look at the MLB. There's a lot of great coaches out there that lose in that last 2 weeks of the season and don't make the playoffs, but they had a great season, a great year. And I hopefully, the Rockies will get turned around next year, and they win more than they lost this year because it was a rough year for them. But they will get turned around with great coaching and good guidance, and those rookies will come up and they start doing what they need to do next year in the games to win ball games because they have a good core of kids coming in, group of guys, and they just got to have that guidance of that right coach saying, "Hey, we got this." And that any coach that takes the Rockies is going to be a tough job. I mean, regardless, it's going to be a tough job because who they are and where they're at. But I tell you what, they can only go up from now. They can't go any further down. Any further down. All they can do now is go up. So, like, you know what? Give me that job. I can win 40 games and still be coach of the year for the Rockies. So,
Hey, you have to win at least 42.
yeah, 42 games. Exactly. You got that.
See, this is how good it is. I think this is great. This is great, and I suppose it wasn't really our normal Q&A format here, but it was obviously something that was weighing on your mind. And I just want to let you coaches out there listening to this and watching this to know. I just want to let you know that you're not alone. And that's why we have a community like this where we can sit here and help you talk through these things and help you realize that the problem's not you. And the problem's really not even those naysayers. It's how you're taking it, right? It's how you're receiving that feedback. And I wouldn't say it's negative criticism or positive criticism or whatever. I would just say it's feedback. And if you look at something as feedback, when I hit the ball and it goes over the fence as a home run, that's feedback. When I hit the ball and it goes up in the air farther than it goes distance wise, it goes higher than it goes far, that's feedback. If I swing and I miss, that's feedback. Feedback is how we learn and how we grow and how we expand. Without feedback, we can't do any of those things. And without any of those things, we don't get better.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Larry gives me feedback all the time, and so I'm growing like a madman.
Vice versa. We're all growing. We're all learning. We're all doing our thing. So, like I said, you can always have good stuff coming along, but you need that feedback to say, hey, if you do this, do that, look at this way, and it's never a bad thing. But you take it as a coach and you learn from that. Like I said, I learn every day. I'm watching baseball right now on TV. I'm learning certain situations. Why would they do that? Why I should do this? That's what's so fun about playoff baseball now. It's so critical. One little thing can cost you the whole game and your series. So just like I said, stick to your guns. You're doing a good job. Good job on this weekend winning the ring. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I think today was a good call. Today was a good day.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you got some answers. Did you, before we round this out, Campbell, did you have any more questions or anything else come up while we were talking about that?
Well, this is kind of a big one, but like I've noticed, and I don't know if we have enough time to get to this, but like I'm in such a weird spot to where like a lot of the guys who have been playing for me, they've known me since I started managing when I was 12 years old. And so in a lot of scenarios, like they still see that 12-year-old who has very minimal baseball knowledge, doesn't really know what she's doing. And even now, like the people who give me the most trouble with the DU team are the guys who knew me my freshman and sophomore year. But then, like now, the guys who came in my junior year and now my senior year, those are the guys who respect me and they listen to me and they follow me no matter what I say. But it's those guys who were there my freshman and sophomore year that just, I say something and they laugh. Or like even the guys on the older teams, like I was about ready to be done after the beginning of this season, but then I started helping out with the 35s. And those guys didn't know me when I was 12 years old. They just know me in the last 2 years. And they really respect me and my decisions. And like there were multiple times over this weekend where someone would walk up to me and be like, "Oh, I'm playing this position," or "Oh, I'm batting in this spot," and I'd be like, "Yeah, just trust me." And and actually there was one guy in particular where he came up and he was like, "I'm batting eight. That's awful. I shouldn't be in that position, yada yada yada." He ended up being like 4 for 4, 5 for 5 in that game. And he ended up slowly and steadily going back up in that lineup. But all he needed was to be in that low spot, see fastballs, get his confidence back. And then he was my 5 hole hitter the entire weekend after that. And he actually ended up getting MVP. He got like the Silver Slugger Award for
That's your
Hey,
dad.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
That's
coach.
your
Whoa,
dad. I
keep
heard
feet
your
on
dad got
the
MVP.
ball. He got the silver
he's
slugger. That's different.
he got the Silver Slugger. Sorry, he got the Silver Slugger. He had the most hits and RBIs in our championship game.
The
Good job.
championship game, the silver slugger.
Good
Yeah,
job.
Yep.
Good job. I mean, Cam, like I said, you will never make everybody happy. Just stick
yeah,
to your guns. What I'm hearing from you, what you need is that unity of that team. That team needs to trust you. You only have a few guys that trust you here because they don't know who you are before, but the other ones do. Those guys need to trust you. And either it's an outing with the team, go have barbecue, just get out of the baseball mindset and go watch a football game on TV. You need to get that team unity as a team in there. And I mean, there are so many times that we took our kids to the ocean. All the guys when we were in San Diego, we all went to the ocean together. We all ate together. When you get to that point that you're doing it together as a team, that trust will get there. And then when you start winning ball games, that trust will get there. Especially when it's a tight ball game, like a 3-2 game, and you pull it out. Something you do as a coach, you pull a guy in, put a guy out, whatever what happened, they run a new pitcher in, and you win that game. That's huge, and that goes far. So just relax, relax. You're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. I mean, we didn't get there overnight. Trust me. We've been there where you're at many times, and that's why I say we're so good at what we're talking about now because we listened and we watched and we learned how we can get to these kids and how we can trust us as we're not playing. We're not playing. But what I do out there with those guys that day I went and talked to those guys at DU. I've been here. I've done this. I won. Now I got credibility. I've coached here. I've coached here. I've coached here. Now credibility. Now they're going to trust us. Your dad, Coach T, same thing with him. He went out there before me and talked to these boys. They understand who he is. All it is just a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of, hey, you need to do this instead of that, and they will start trusting you, and be assertive. And this is why you're here. You're not, you're at ninth or eighth because you're bad because you need to see more fastballs. You need to get that confidence level back up. And then now all of a sudden you went 4.45. Now you're batting sixth. Now you're batting fifth. I love batting third, but I love batting fifth too because you know why? Some more fastballs, and that's what I hit. So once you relay them why you're doing this, not because I'm the coach, it's because I want you to see more fastballs and changeups or curveballs. I want you to be successful. Like when you do in and out, do you just pound the ball as hard as you can to these infielders? No. It's easy, two-hopper. Make them field it. Make them look good. That gives them confidence. That's all it's about is making those guys look good. BP, you hit their bat. So if they swing and miss, their confidence is gone. But you get hit their bat and all of a sudden it goes over the fence. Now they go from right here to right here. And that's what a coach does. That's what a good coach does. No one ever sees that, right? No one ever sees what you do outside of the ball field with your lineups. No one sees what you're doing at home trying to figure out this guy, this guy, this guy. But you know who does see that? Us, because we've been there. And you will see that in your record and when these guys start getting better every day. So, sorry, Coach.
Amen. I love it when coach starts preaching. I love it. Preach. I love it. I think I'm going to tell a quick story. So Monday morning, because we're in Arizona, we're staying with one of my best friends from college. We actually reconnected recently, so we're getting caught up. And his kids play soccer in Arizona, and he was having a challenge with his son. So when we're at the club in the morning, we were talking, and then he was picking my brain, and then we got on our podcast and we did our podcast. And this was Tuesday morning, right, Campbell? Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was listening to our podcast. Then he immediately goes and takes his son to soccer practice that afternoon. And he talks to the coach and he says exactly what we said and says, oh, ask the coach, like, what do you think? What we should do? And the coach is like, you needed to, you need to host a party at your house for the team and don't do any soccer. You want your kid to be a part of and feel a part of this team, then it's got to be separate from what they see on the field because they don't really know each other on the field. They're just getting to know a small piece of that person. But you
Mm-hmm.
go over to, like, say, the issue is with Jay's son, Jaden. If you go over to his house and Jaden hosts his party and his friends realize, hey, Jaden's pretty cool. He plays video games. We play video games. He has these Pictionary games or these other games that we like to play. He has this really cool house. He's a really cool guy. He's cool to hang out with. His room looks like exactly like mine. All of a sudden, everything starts to come together. And this is what you always find because, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but you're on that team because you belong. And you wouldn't be on it if you didn't. That's just how it works. And if somebody really is changing where they start to not belong or they really don't belong, that will naturally go away. But in most instances, everybody who's on there is meant to be there at that time, learning those things from that coach and those other players. And when you go to those houses, if you were to go to every kid's house, you're going to find some common themes, some common threads. And when you do these activities outside, now, when you do these activities outside of baseball, in our case, um, you can't talk about baseball because it then interrupts that team bonding. What it's got to be is if you're racing go-karts, see who's the best go-kart racer. If you're playing video games, see who's the best video game player. If you're doing a sack, what's that, a potato sack run or whatever, whatever it is, frog racing, cat racing, dog jumping, horse jumping, whatever it is, it can't be about the sport that you're in, or it's not going to be effective. And if even when I take my parents, so we do a thing at like Boondocks, which is a lot like Dave and Buster's, if you don't know what Boondocks is. And we go there, and the parents always want to ask me all these questions about softball and this and that and the other. And I said, no, that's not for this place, and that's not for this time. We're here to enjoy this and make sure the kids stay together as a team and go through this whole thing and just have as much fun as they can possibly have. There's no mention of softball, no mention of tournaments, no mention of money, no mention of schedules, none of that. This is a team bonding experience. And so, Campbell, with you and not just the officers, but the other players over the off season, if you schedule something, have them come to your house or our house, right? And host an event that has nothing to do with baseball and everything to get to do with getting to know them as people. Because no matter what you are throughout your entire life, you are always a people. You are a person first. And all these other things are just things that you do. Campbell, you're an amazing human being, and you're also a manager, and you're also a friend, and you're also a student. You're also a colleague. You're also an employee. Those are just extra things, but you are a person first. And when you get to your team to know each other and to know you as a coach outside of that, they're going to realize, you know what? Campbell is pretty special and she really does care about me. And that's when the trust starts to develop from the inside out.
Very good, very good. I got one more for you. That one, Coach, even better. When's your season over with, Campbell?
Um, I think, well, it's not over till the spring. We just have like a little bit
When's
of
fall? When's fall done?
Yeah.
fall is done the week before finals.
It's like what, December? Like
Um,
you can't play. When's your last fall game?
I think it's like November 14th.
Okay. So every fall, every team in the nation, you have a fall World Series. So you get that last week of baseball, like CSU Pueblo. We did a 7 game series. You get split up in teams and so forth. What I'm going to tell you need to do with these boys is this: when the 14th is done, you guys are done. You have that week off, whatever it is. Have your captains pick a team, pick 2 teams, and separate them, and you do a bowling competition. So you have 8 teams right there. You do a bowling competition, and then you do ping pong, or so you have certain teams guys do bowling, then you have certain other guys teams do the ping pong, and then you do a sack the what's that thing with the sacks, and you throw the whole cornhole, and then pickleball, whatever it may be. You get like 4 things, and you have them compete. And the winning team, that's how you get that bonding. The winning team wins whatever it is, and then you meet up that Saturday night at a house, whatever, and it's hamburgers, hot dogs. Your dad and I would show up, and we cook for you, whatever you want us to do. But that's where competition's done. You start on a Wednesday, ends on a Friday night or Saturday, and then you go to a house and you have the hamburgers, hot dogs, and then you come as one team.
Oh,
And that's what you do.
I
And
love
that's
it.
what you do.
I love it.
And man, we did that at CSUP, and we did a bowling, and man, you see them juices. All athletes are competitive. It doesn't matter what you do, from ping pong to cornhole. Your dad and I, we're competitive. You ain't gonna beat me. I promise you that. Whatever we do, I'm gonna try my best to beat your dad. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. And those boys, the competitive edge is gonna come out, and then all of a sudden you start seeing that team building start coming in. And then all of a sudden, after everything's all said and done, you get together, you have a barbecue, and man, I tell you what, that's now you got something going on for the winter and in the spring.
And not only do you start winning, Campbell, but they trust you.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's some gold stuff for their coach.
I
We
feel
gave her
like
some good stuff today.
I think Coach Larry was doing some preaching tonight, so I feel like we need an amen.
Amen.
Well,
I'm
thank you.
ready, man.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
it's
ready. I mean, with
good.
the Bears, man, we did a PS5 tournament. I mean, we did anything we possibly do competitive wise. We rented out the whole ballroom in Atlanta, and they got football bats and footballs, and it may be still baseball, but it wasn't baseball. They're having fun. I mean, that's what when you see them kids smile and they're laughing and joking around, that's when you're like saying, "Yep, now we're becoming a team. Now we're doing this," and I love it.
Yeah, one of these days I'll show you trash ball, Coach.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. There's so many good things out there you can do to make this game fun. And like I said, all they hear from you is wham, 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 wham. They don't hear the fun, Campbell. Hey, how about doing this? Let's do that, because right now it's work for them. And it's a dog days of fall, man. We're tired. We got school. We got this. We got that. We don't be out here, and we have Coach Campbell on our butts. And then you switch that around, and then wow, you are human. You are a fun person to be around with. Now that trust is in there. Now you be called a player coach, not the other way around. You want to be called a player coach. You want the players to respect you and like you because you're going to be the right person for that job. Amen. I'm done.
Amen. Well, this is fantastic, coaches. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, those of you who are watching this have some more questions. Maybe there's a topic you want to discuss next week. Just hit us up in the community. You can direct message Campbell and join the pack. I mean, we're growing every single day, adding teams. We just picked in this tournament, we picked up a team. Chris Sheng is going to come on with us and coach it 10U or 12U, 12U softball team out of San Diego.
I'm
So
going. Go watch them.
pack is growing, and we're gonna have to go out there to San Diego a few times and train him, I think. I think he
I
needs
love it. I love it.
physically there.
Hey, coach, what's our motto? What's the thing you say all the time? I love it. I got to put on my tattoo. What does it say?
The strength of the pack is in the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is in the pack.
I
So
love it.
join the family. You'll get stronger. We'll get stronger. Everybody will be stronger and better and faster and win more and have more fun and celebrate coaches like Campbell and Coach Larry and myself. And that's what this community is all about. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Everybody who was here, everybody's watching this on the replay. And thank you, Coach Larry and Coach Campbell. Tonight was another fantastic night. We will see
Good
you.
job. Thank you.